It should be on your screen.
Okay.
One sec,
Okay.
I'll refresh if everything is. Okay, nice. My second computer is also refusing to work.
The technical issues again, but I see the screen on.
It's working. Your screen is.
Okay. Hello everyone. Let's just wait 1 or 2 seconds before we kick things again. Little update before the stream is going to start. We are going to be taking a little break, I think, after this week. It's because, as some of you might know from Twitter or whatever, I am moving again, and I have some like personal life things in May. Then I'm moving in June, so I'm not 100% sure how much I would be able to do this every week. So yeah, we will be taking just a little break. There might be like 1 or 2 streams in May or June, but then we will be fully back in summer. Hopefully the market won't be completely dead without any volatility in summer. So yeah, it's just a little update from that. Before also we jump into the stream, as always, the stream is sponsored by Coin Market Manager, which is the automated journal. All you have to do is make a new account with the link in the description. That's the Bybit account. Unfortunately, you will have to do the KYC now, which hope some of you can do still, and you are not in like banned jurisdictions and all that. But if you are going to use our link, and if you are going to make a account on the CMM, you will get the whole kind of package completely for free, so you don't have to pay anything, which usually it costs $70 a month. So that's kind of nice. With that being said, we can just jump into the things. There's not all that much to talk about from my side of things. I will be starting with BTC as always. This is a 12-hour chart. I think what I will cover today, the first things first, is going to be the trade that I actually took last week and how that kind of played out. I was tweeting about it a little bit, so this is not something that I do all that much. I am not like the biggest fan of sharing the trades, but basically I was long last week after we had this rally, and then we had this kind of quick dump back into this area of consolidation. I took a long. I posted about it on Twitter. We basically had a huge flush of the open interest. If I will just add the OI here, I will need to switch the Binance chart, but if you're going to take a look, we had this huge flush. This was last Wednesday. Flushed a huge amount of open interest. Basically, I took a long, and to be quite honest, I was really expecting this to kind of overshoot very quickly back to the upside. This is one of those situations where basically you are going to take a trade that you are basing on, not only like a price action, like a retest of some prior consolidation, but also the fact that, such a huge amount of positioning got flushed on that move to the downside. So I took a long. I think I just executed somewhere in this area, fully expecting this to kind of run at least this high, the high that basically started this move to the downside. To be fair, I was looking at these very flat kind of highs. If you are all into like market profile, or looking at like support and resistance, liquidity, and all of that, these very kind of flat tops don't tend to stay like this. We could have seen that in some previous consolidations where basically market just kind of flush throughout the very flat highs and lows. So this was I was kind of looking at it. Then basically, after I got in, I was just sitting in this trade for a bunch of days. I think it was like 4 or 5 days. We had this Sunday push, which the Sunday push on BTC before the CME Open is never a good sign. I wasn't at the screens. This was like Sunday evening to do anything about it, and basically what I did after I came back and I saw this is retracing, I just put my stop loss under these lows and got stopped out. So I locked in at least some profits instead of just kind of round tripping the thing, because like I said, my average entry was here, so I would be still sitting in much kind of lower profit. Not like this was something awesome from a risk reward perspective, but yeah. So this basically leads to this week. First things first that I want to show you before going back into the charts very quickly is the calendar for the week. I am not the biggest fundamental type of guy, and I'm not going to be talking about all of these things in detail. But tomorrow we have a FOMC. This is the big FOMC, where you have a release and then you have a press conference. So there will be a bunch of volatility here. And then we have NFP on Friday. So definitely a big week in terms of volatility. And we have some minor things as well. We have ECB in Europe, which I don't think plays that big of a deal in BTC, and unemployment claims are usually pretty kind of mild when you have NFP just day after that. So tomorrow and on Friday, two big events. So definitely, if you are not in rush, I would kind of give you a little advice to not position too much into things. Looking at the 12-hour chart here, I'm going to use this one because it's like more exchanges put together. We still hold this +1 standard deviation from the yearly VWAP. As you can see, this is the yearly VWAP. We have a +1 -1 standard deviation. This basically acts as kind of like a dynamic support and resistance, with the fair value trading inside, and once we are above, you can kind of categorize this as a trend, basically as kind of a trending market. So we are still holding that, but obviously the structure here, you can see that we have these lows, and also we have lows, this low here under that. So for me, this is not the best kind of structure to look at. I saw someone mentioning that this is basically a higher low from like this move, but this, I don't really feel like this works this way, because if you are going to look at things just from like a market structure perspective, this is the last swing point right here that make this this high, and then we trade it under. So the market structure here is broken. I would be more leaning to like this was a bearish retest of it. Obviously, I mentioned that there was a unfinished structure just above these highs for me to go short, and I was kind of hoping for a little bit of overshoot. But still, same goes to the upside. We have these highs. These are the highs that I just talked about. These kind of flat highs on the lower time frames, and as we took out this high right here, but you could still say that we have a little bit of a double top area right here on the 12-hour chart. So this to me seems like a unfinished structure basically on the both sides at the moment. Usually NFP resolves these things, and you also tend to get like a clean directional move after that. So my plan for this week is like super simple. I know that's a little boring. Would be kind of wait to either side to basically get traded through, and try to either fade it, or if we would just break above it and hold, I would play the continuation. If you break below it and hold, I would play the continuation to the downside. So super boring, but when you have events like these, it's a little better to be kind of safe and sorry. On the lower time frames, there's not really all that much, to be fair. I think it's really not at the place for me to be super interested in any type of trades. You can see today, we had just this little push. You have these highs here, you have these basic lows under that. Let me take a look very quickly to some of the order flow of the move. That might give us little more idea of what's been going on. First things first, I will just look at the derivatives on CoinAlyze. Decent amount of buying coming from spot, as it seems. Funding kind of sliding into negative area. Also, we had this kind of within this consolidation, we had a little bit of build up of the open interest, funding ticking down. So safe to assume that there were some short positions basically that are currently getting squeezed to the upside, which seems to be a reason for this overall move to happen. Besides, the banking issue, which is something Runner will be talking about in a bit. But yeah, it's still, even if you would, for example, kind of zoom out all the way to this. Let me it's going to be easier to kind of drive my point on TradingView. If I would just zoom out to this and look at basically this whole area and just draw a volume profile from basically start of this consolidation to towards the end, you can see that we are bouncing from the POC and we are basically in like a middle of this, like a biggest chunk of the volume. So there will be a lot of back and forth. These are not the best areas to kind of execute new trades basically, because the likelihood that something like this, something basically like this we had from middle of the March until almost a month of consolidation happening at the POC, all of this volume building, a lot of contracts changing the hands. We are back at it, and since we had this kind of a flush last week, I don't really see this as a untested level as well. So I would just expect much kind of a bigger back and forth until the FOMC tomorrow. So yeah, it's the last thing we can actually look at before going to take a quick look at ETH is going to be the structure of the spot market. You can see yesterday and day before. No, it was yesterday basically. Yesterday we started to see a little bit of a bid on Binance and Coinbase, which is once again driving this kind of a thesis that market is going up now because there was some shorting from derivatives. Spot was also holding this as a bid. Coinbase is actually very clear with this. You can see this is the depth of the order book on the bid side and ask side. You can see where these things go really into like a bigger extreme, and this was kind of a theme in the last couple of months that Coinbase tends to create the bottoms with the demand. So pretty interesting from that. We saw a little bit of a bait from the Coinbase today as well into this push. Binance also kind of started to show up a little bit, and Kraken showed a little bit as well. So you have this kind of spot demand, which from like a current price action standpoint makes me feel like we might push higher coming into the FOMC. So if you would really be like too eager to execute, maybe going long here with like a wider stop under the lows, hoping that we are going to push to the upside. That's really up to you. I don't really find any kind of interesting setups here at the moment, but yeah, this from like a order flow perspective, this looks like there might be a little bit upside coming into this, with negative funding, with that kind of spot bid and all of these things that I mentioned before. But the safest play here would be really wait for the event tomorrow and then position yourself into that. So taking a look at ETH very quickly, it's basically the same thing, just weaker. ETH BTC still dead. Still kind of dead. Holding this I think I spoke about this last week, but it's still looking very, very ugly. ETH, had much weaker push, basically no push at all. We had this kind of mess on Wednesday, but ETH failed to basically do anything after that. So yeah, the gameplay here really would be as it's been, for quite a bit now, shorting ETH, longing BTC. I was looking if I could kind of get into short here into ETH. You know, we had this kind of overthrow, push to the downside. I just really hate these highs here. You know, we basically have a triple top. Here on ETH. You know, it's just this kind of inefficient grind to the downside, leaving these kind of highs here. You know, I think like if I would be, for example, because you can take a look at this and be like, okay, this is the consolidation. You know, we made a new low from this, so market, you know, should do something like this. Well, maybe it will, but you know, coming into FOMC, factoring the fact that you have the triple top here, you also have these highs. You know, you have this high here. The likelihood of something like this is, you know, more likely to happen, in my opinion. So yeah, I wouldn't be shorting the first kind of immediate retest here on the ETH. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I just, you know, from kind of my experience, I know that when you have highs that look shit like this and you don't have this kind of a final attempt before the new leg down, then you know you are more likely to revisit the highs before any kind of significant sell-off. So yeah, these are basically my views. The VWAP, you know, if BTC is really weak here, and if you just lose the VWAP, and you know if things goes to shit, I believe that under here, this is like 27k basically area, which is your kind of a last, basically the consolidation. You know, where I took my long, which acted as support. Losing this, you know, coming back to 2450, which is the yearly VWAP. Also, it's this consolidation right here. So this would be my first target. You know, losing that obviously much lower, but I feel like it's still kind of better to just play it more of a short term. So like a bigger swing trade that I would be looking if we would lose this 27k area back to 2450 yearly VWAP, the consolidation here, like a general SR area basically. On the push to the upside, if you know this really goes strong, and for me that would be kind of the case that we are going to break above this consolidation and then don't fail at these highs, then I would look into these swing points that we never really tested at like 32k area. So yeah, but that's quite a far off. You know, that's like a not a case for at least, you know, next couple of weeks. So you can see, and I talked about this with Runner as well before we started streaming, that you know we have obviously kind of a trending year in Bitcoin, but you can, if you're going to take a look at the chart, and you know I can switch this to daily time frame, you start counting the days, how many days this actually like trended. You know, like we have a 1 day here, then we have a month of nothing, we have 1 day here consolidation, and so on and so forth. It's just this kind of a painful grind and painful kind of a chop, and then you know like a huge impulse like. So definitely I'm not really trying to get too ahead of myself. You know, I see some people targeting 40k and some people targeting 15k at the same time on Twitter. You know, really like a level to level approach, and taking things kind of a calmly would be a smart thing to do. So lose the 27k area back to 24.5, regain this level right here with, you know, this kind of a acceptance above these highs, like not complete failure. Then I think we are going back to 33k, and yeah, that's pretty much it on ETH. ETH looks really bad, to be fair. Like ETH, we had this ETH 2.0, you know, push to the upside, and then it just failed completely. Kind of hovering at that kind of yearly plus one standard deviation. You know, you can also take a look at this as a very ugly level of SR, but obviously the longer the market spends the time there, the more likely it's to break to the, you know, downside. In this case, you can see that we had a similar case before we made a new highs. You know, we consolidated there for a month, so the likelihood of this breaking was pretty high. Now we are back to it consolidating again, so longer we are here, you know, the bigger chances are for the move to the downside. And my target for ETH, if I would manage to get into short, would be the same, similar to BTC. I would probably take it into 1600s. Yearly VWAP 1660, 1600, this kind of swing point. Assuming that ETH BTC would still be weaker, we might see back to 1400. So yeah, this is my kind of a quick breakdown for ETH and BTC. I think I can pass it to Runner, and he can talk about some of the altcoins and some of the things that have been going on.
Sure, I'm gonna switch screen first. Hello everybody. First and foremost, we're not really taking a break. Adam simply went all in Pepe and AI Doge and 10x his net worth, so he just needs to spend some of his profits. No. Yeah, apologies for the delays. It was my mistake this week. I hope everybody can enjoy the summer. Actually, I'm gonna spend most of the time talking about Bitcoin, because last stream I believe I mentioned this one as well. I personally, it's very subjective. There is no real way to measure it. But there's one interesting thing happening to Bitcoin. First and foremost, I want to zoom in on this part. This was March 9th, 10th, 11th, right? We went under 20k briefly. It was USDC DPEG, I believe. It was Kraken paying SEC. It was like Ethereum being called a security, but also it was like the first round of the banking FUD when we had Silicon Valley Bank, First Republic Signature. It doesn't really matter what bank, but I put it at the chart just to give you. I'm not making any conclusions. I'm just showing charts. Okay. So we have DB tweet. What happened afterwards, right? On 26th, sorry for my English, there was some more FUD. I could not find any tweet from DB, so I had to put mine. I'm gonna delete it very briefly, but just to again show, we had some basically headlines with the banks, and correctly I'm gonna delete it, but I was in Copenhagen anyways. I was not trading it, but basically the FUD happened around here. I believe the first mentions of some bank issues. Then we had a rally, and today again we had some stuff happening with some other US regional banks. So again, not making any conclusions, but what I've noticed is I'm gonna open my other macro watch list. You have some basically the sequence is following. So we have some bad news following the regional banks. You have TradFi sell-off. Dollar, I'm not gonna comment, not an expert. Not that I'm expert in anything, but gold usually rallies, and you have Bitcoin.
Yeah, I would kind of say that, and I have seen this today a lot. People talking about how BTC is strong compared to, or like how BTC is strong, based on the banks are going down in the US, but it's a little bit, in my opinion, like a CD type of cope. Because if you are just going to open,
I put your up.
Yeah, if this is my stream, this is these are gold futures. I don't have a timestamps here basically, but the first time the banks went down in the US, I think it was somewhere in here. Gold obviously had a huge rally, then went pretty much sideways, and this is the candle today on gold. Engulfing last basically 3 weeks of trading. So yeah, in these cases, in my opinion, and I know that during when the war between Ukraine and Russia started last year, basically, there was very similar kind of a thesis that BTC will be this kind of a safe haven. People will rally to BTC. This is the Bitcoin price action from that time, comparing this to gold, which gold is obviously this move to the upside right here during the war talks and when the war started. So yeah, definitely I feel like there is like a incentive, and it would make sense for people to rotate into Bitcoin. But from my kind of experience and from how I think that most people still think about things, and they will prefer these boomer markets still, like gold is the main one basically. So yeah, we have this rally on the banks and everything, and it would make sense to buy BTC, but from what I've seen and from like my personal experience, I noticed that people still prefer to rotations to gold, basically.
Yeah, right. That I was wanted to add is like, I personally find it completely retarded. That's like anybody, let's say you have money in, you're American, you have like 7-8 figures, you're gonna withdraw everything, causing bank run, to go on Coinbase and pay like 1% fee to buy Bitcoin at a range highs. Yeah, probably unlikely. But yeah, it's just basically
these are the treasuries charts, just very quickly, scrolling through these. Not something that I'm looking at, but still the same thing. This is the first banking shit. This is the second one. Much kind of stronger impulse move compared to BTC. Obviously, this one was huge, but this one is very very muted today.
So far, maybe.
So far, maybe.
Maybe I need Bitcoin to go up. Yeah, but like if you look at crypto only, you can also see the move on BTC dominance. I know a lot of people hate this metric, but honestly, if you look at Bitcoin dominance daily chart, it kind of looks like gold chart. I know that's very 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 weird comparison to make, but it looks good. Like if you take away what it is, but yeah, let's move on. Tomorrow, as Adam said, FOMC.
I think there is like a huge kind of uncertainty in crypto at the moment. With Bybit doing the KYC, I spoke to a lot of people. They basically have no idea where to trade. Because I feel like for a lot of people the KYC is not actually the issue. Like it's like not such a big deal if you plan to take things seriously, and I know it's extremely sad, but you will eventually have to pay taxes. The issue is that like most of the places are banned. Like you can't trade derivatives in the US, you can't trade derivatives in the UK, you can't trade derivatives in Spain, for example, where I'm at the moment. It's also banned here as well. So yeah, I feel like a lot of people are a little bit lost at the moment. Don't really know what to do, where to trade, what's going on. That's today the Coinbase is starting their own exchange. That's interesting.
It's for institutional clients only.
Oh, okay.
But finally, Sailor can go coin marginalized long and get actually liquidated. So.
Yeah. So it's kind of a weird spot at the moment. I don't really have much of an idea what's going on and what's going to happen next. ES sold off pretty heavily today. Already kind of bouncing back. I don't think ES chart is looking all that bad, in my opinion. It's still looking pretty solid, and this is just like a retest of this consolidation. We had this kind of a false break under, so ES is still not looking that bad. Obviously we had a huge move down on that banking thing, but we are still kind of recovering a little bit. But the Bitcoin ES correlation wasn't the strongest kind of a pivot this year, in my opinion, to look at anyway.
Yeah, I guess we can slowly move on. We're 30 minutes into the few altcoins that we actually have. Maybe just one last thing I would add, but Adam mentioned it as well. Like, at least from my observation, I know CVDs are kind of a meme on higher time frames, but like this is very clearly, you can see on this chart, the orange line is spot CVD. I've never seen anything like this. Obviously, my trading experience is much smaller than Adam's, but like spot is leading all the way. People love to call this Binance cartel, yada yada yada. Just maybe last thing with the banks to close this up. I've found this tweet interesting. Like I have no clue what any of these banks are, but a lot of these banks are down a lot. Most likely they're gonna bounce. Moving on to altcoins or narratives, Binance has been on a roll lately, listing stuff, which is kind of concerning to me personally. Like I know in current market conditions, there's not much stuff not much stuff happening. So, and as exchange, they make most money off of people trading and people getting liquidated, right? So they listed in just like last since stream, which is what, like 5 days ago, they listed like 4 or 5 coins, which is I don't know. You guys make your own opinion. They listed Blur. What was interesting about Blur? It's a NFT platform, whatever. They did not list spot. They listed perps first, which is not usual behavior for Binance. It was something FTX used to do. They also listed. They had like a launchpad or launch pool thingy for a coin called Edu. So that immediately, that's like you stake your BNB, then you get this token for free, which you can dump, but immediately we got perpetuals. So we can maybe look at order flow a bit later. Then tomorrow is actually pretty fucking crazy for someone like me, because we have FOMC, but also we're getting a quote unquote new coin, which is Sui, which is like a layer 1, like basically Aptos, but a bit different. So I believe a lot of people will be drawing a lot of similarities, a lot of comparisons. I would not be surprised if Sui is like interesting coin for the following days, weeks, or months. I would not be surprised if it trades like Aptos eventually, or like Optimism. We've discussed this in length with Adam, with all these coins. And also tomorrow we are getting IDEX perps, which is something me and Adam both traded last week as well. What is interesting about IDEX, I don't want to FUD it because I like the project. I guess I'm a long-term bull investor, whatever you want to call it, but with all due respect, let me actually check, not to be lying, but it's like 70 million market cap project right now, 65. It's doing a lot of volume. It's mostly traded on Binance, but it's getting perps. It's an interesting decision. Obviously, it's not IDEX team decision. This is something that Binance is responsible for. But this one is going to be a clusterfuck. Like, I'm going to be trading this. If anybody wants to go full tard, IDEX perps tomorrow. Like, when Jerome is speaking and saying all sorts of statements and you're scalping IDEX perps, it's probably going to be fun. So that's like whatever happened in last week. Yeah,
I don't know. These launch pools are definitely kind of a weird thing and a little concerning, as to say at least, because obviously how this works, like you need to have a BNB to get tokens. So basically people buy a lot of BNB spot, which, like, the design of things feels like it's supposed to make the token to go up in like a simplest terms. When we have the ID, the ID launchpad, which was in March, and this was like a first notable launchpad. At the time, you wouldn't get the 4 launchpads a week, so it was also a little bit special. BNB rally, this is that move,
which is massive, right? It's like 10% move.
Yeah, which was a decent move, and also it was at the time when BTC made this move and altcoins were heavily lagging at that point. I don't know where that is actually. Yeah, it's this kind of a section here basically. So BNB definitely was like outperforming altcoin at the time, but then you get more and more launchpads. This is the last announcement, I believe, of the Sui launchpad. It's already kind of fully retraced, so it's definitely losing a little bit of that Ponzi.
That's actually very interesting what you just. I've never thought about it this way, and it's very interesting that the Sui thing fully retraced already.
Yeah, because you can see here on Coinalyze, basically, like, they announced the thing. You have a huge spike in spot CVD, meaning that people are buying BNB spot. Funding goes heavily negative because spot is trading way above the per price. So this is like a design of like a Ponzi type of pump, basically. This is like a perfect setting to pump the token, to pump the BNB. You can see it already retraced. BTC is pretty strong today. ETH is also strong today. BNB is doing nothing basically. So definitely, I think another one. Is it possible that this was another one announcement which already?
I believe Edu, maybe.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find where the thing was announced.
Yeah, I
But,
think it was 25th. One sec, I should be able to check from announcements, but I know the distribution was on last Friday, which was 28th.
It's very likely this kind of spot move to the upside, basically. But it's weird to see, and it's kind of this thing where, you know, it's cool. It's cool thing for the first time. You can see, obviously, the first time being here. You know, this is the ID launchpad. It was one of the nicer longs that I took. I was kind of lucky to get in like hour before the announcement. But you can see the difference.
You
the
can
difference.
confirm that you have insiders.
Yeah, but you can see this kind of difference in the overall dynamic, and you know, like this, it took a couple of days, and this at least held the price, and then just dumped completely. Anyway, the pump we had, you know, 5%, it's already back within like 1 day, 2 days. So I think, you know, people kind of got tired of launchpads very quickly when it comes to BNB, and it, you know, when you have so many of these things in a row, it looks kind of weird for the token itself. Like, they obviously just try to kind of pump it.
Then you can create these theories, right? I'm sure CT is all over that. I'm not really active on Twitter, but you know, if you're trying, quote unquote, this is just a speculation, Binance, please do not close our accounts. Because we're from the country where we still can trade their perps on Binance. But you know, yes, it's like artificially keeping the price up while market is no longer buying it. While, you know, you have all the BUSD FUD, you have all the weird suspicious spot bid. It's, I don't know, it's just something does not add
I
up.
mean, like BNB obviously was it's like one of the best performing coins, you know, since 2021, you know, against BTC. It's I think it's only coin that is up against BTC in like a long like BNB. Sorry, I'm sharing a different screen, just give me 1 second. Obviously, you know, BNB had a massive rally in 2021. You know, I remember buying this. This is like one of my saddest trades. I bought a bunch of BNB at the start of 2021, closed it around this area. So that was pretty unfortunate. But, you know, this chart is still arguably an uptrend, you know, compared to like basically anything else, like a BTC pairwise, you know, Sol BTC, for example. You know, it's just full kind of retrace and everything. But if you take a look at the weekly or monthly chart of BNB, like this looks pretty bad to me. Like, you have a support that is basically tested like 7 times, and this just looks like this is one of those things that they just try to keep this running, you know, as much as they can. And you know, if this would like lose the support, you know, like the move could be pretty brutal, and I don't want to go like full couple here and, you know,
no,
targeting $50 or anything. But yeah, it's really not a good look for BNB, in my opinion, lately. And you know how things look and how they try to kind of pump the token as well.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say number 4. For the sake of your account, no more news like this. No, it's really, you know, it's like exactly what FTX was doing. Like, exactly, I was trading there. That's why I got so confident and lost a bunch of money there. Exactly this, you know, they were giving us perps on a bunch of shit, and that was like beginning of the end, basically. But you know, maybe okay, let's be a bit serious. Maybe someone watching does not have that much like confidence, but like there's a website on DeFi Llama and many other platforms. There's there have like centralized exchange transparency page, but you can see, you know, let's assume all of these links are actually legit, but you can see their clean assets, you can see their wallets, and you can check for yourself. I personally have a notification. If this goes below certain number, I just withdraw everything. I don't give a fuck what CZ is tweeting or whatever's happening. For me, that's an exit. If you want, you can click the bobos on the chart. Nice little touch. So yeah, I would definitely recommend, you know, we're still in like eco bubble, bear market, shit can go wrong. You should know where you're really trading. Some of these exchanges, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like that's something worth mentioning for a lot of people that are going to be moving to another place. And without trying to go into much of a drama and everything, I see what exchanges are promoted heavily by people on CT. To be really fair, like most of these exchanges are complete shit. Like I'm not saying that like Binance or Bybit is something amazing and groundbreaking. But yeah, just make sure to be very careful how much money are you sending to a new exchange that you heard for the first time last week on from Twitter and all of that. So yeah, definitely I would be a little careful. Someone asked here where I will be trading or like how I trade in Spain. Yeah, I have a KYC from a different country and I'm just using VPN. If I accidentally log in from the Spain, basically what happens, they will lock your account and you just send them the document that I'm really a citizen of different country, and you can say just I'm on vacation and everything. So yeah. But with that being said, I would be really kind of careful with the exchanges. Someone mentioned BitGet. Yeah, I don't know. I never used it. Only thing I know about BitGet is that they are partners of Juventus, which is probably like the
nice fundamentals.
Yeah, it's like the least assuring things. I don't know. I will most likely play around with some exchanges as well. I'm not really like biggest fan of trading on Binance, or it's like whatever. Everything is the same anyway. Binance is still the best when it comes to like liquidity and everything, but I'm also like a little against the fact that Binance is becoming this kind of a single dominant exchange. I don't really think it should be like this in crypto. So I'm like on one side I'm like all for new exchanges and sharing this like a whole volume and everything into new exchanges, but at the same time a lot of these exchanges are just kind of doing really scammy things that you won't be able to see at like a first look, and then you will just pay for them along the line. So it's definitely a tricky thing to kind of navigate.
Yeah, Adam, you just talked about BNB. You want to pull up a chart of OKB, which is an OKX token. We are not partnered, but if you want to talk about up-only chart on like a weekly.
I had no idea this is a this is a thing actually. I never used OKX or whatever you pronounce.
Yeah, OKX. You can send the check to my address. You have it in here.
We were talking about this last week to look at the basically all the coins from the exchanges. This is definitely looking pretty solid. This is the weekly chart, so this is once again doing a very complex analysis by drawing a support and resistance line. This doesn't look all that bad.
But it's, guys, for context, it's 2.7 billion market cap with 14 billion FDV, and I assume it's only traded on like OKX, so it's it's one of those things where like most likely I guarantee you the exchange holds majority of the tokens, they're validators whatsoever, so it's pretty fugazi. Like it's just like BNB though.
Okay.
Like to be completely fair, like have you seen like the pictures or the names of 12 Binance Smart Chain validators, and it's just CZ with different angles, pretty much.
Yeah. What else is there? Wu is getting a lot of kind of traction. Today we had a Kretz partnering up with their show. I think Wu is nice. Like they seem like a genuine people, to say at least. I never use the exchange, so once again I have no experience. I know that volatility with altcoins will be pretty wonky, but yeah, Wu would be probably one of the exchanges a lot of people will go to. Other than that, I don't really know. I don't even want to talk about things like MEXC and BingX and FEMX and all these things, which I believe just are pretty much like, I don't know.
Yeah, I would like to say thank you again to team guys from Wu, because My
oh
account,
yeah, they saved your Twitter account.
yeah, I got wrecked, and basically my issue apparently takes up to a month to resolve because obviously I'm just a random guy, not some celebrity, and they got it fixed for me in like 4 hours. So thank you again. Thanks.
Yeah, like they seem like a, you know, like it seems like they are more on like a side of a genuine people in the space compared to like other exchanges and how they communicate and everything. But it's, I don't know, this is a really tricky thing to do because obviously like you have a huge like influencer marketing and all this plays like a huge part. But at the end of the day, it's still exchange. At the end of the day, you don't really need to have all your money at the exchange. You know, it's completely useless to send everything that you have to the exchange. So just you know, send the money that you need for margin and keep the other part, you know, in the wallets or whatever, basically.
And that's the reason why leverage exists, right? Most of people
Yeah.
use it wrong.
Yeah.
That's for risk management, if anything.
So what coins are looking good still, if there are some coins? I was looking at INJ today, but I don't really. I have like a little hard time to grasp. It's like the reason why the funding on INJ is so negative isn't it because like how the token is does work, like same with like Ape, for example.
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I don't know anything specific. If it has something with like Ape.
Okay, because you know, like INJ, the first, you know, obviously this huge rally, we had these kind of a spikes in a spot CVD, meaning like a very clear signal of spot buying here. Now, you know, spot CVD going down, which, you know, could still be bullish, you know, like market selling spot into passive bid and all that. But yeah, like it's I fail to understand a little bit the reason why the funding is still like so negative compared to basically anything else. So I was thinking like I might be buying this. The chart doesn't look all that bad. But that was probably like the only coin that looked decent for any long opportunities. A lot of coins are just kind of dying basically, you know, like going sideways, trending down. So
Yeah, like IDEX is probably one of the better looking charts, but at the same time it's below 100 million market cap, which we kind of agreed not to talk about, but it's getting perps tomorrow though, so
yeah, this is the chart here is really messed up, you know. I really don't want to encourage people to trade this because obviously how thin it is. Although, you know, you mentioned that you like the project, I think it's also kind of cool, but yeah, it's not even on live with us to see. But what I would expect, you know, obviously huge jump in volume in the first couple of days. Things get a little more liquid, so might be a nicer chart to trade. But as things are right now, you know, you still have these huge spikes, huge wicks, so I would be very careful trading this.
yeah, actually STX looks good today. It pumps. That's probably the only thing that comes to mind.
Oh yeah, and this is the Bitcoin DeFi thing. Yeah. So
but Jesus Christ, the open interest.
The open interest spiked a lot. This is like a lot of buying. I still don't think it's like a, you know, I know you mentioned a couple of times it's like a BTC beta or whatever. I still don't really see many reasons to long this instead of Bitcoin at the end of the day. So, but yeah, decent push to the upside. Huge change in the open interest, obviously. You know, just basically almost doubled today. OI almost doubled today, so definitely a huge change here. Which can be also a signal of the end of the move. You can see we have a huge spike in OI here. We topped basically shortly after. We had a huge spike of OI here. We topped shortly after. And you can see same kind of huge spike in OI. The price action is not moving all that much. So would be definitely a bit careful with this as well.
Yeah, it's like very popular CT coin and VC coin, so I know that it has like negative connotation to it for that reason. People on CT seem to dislike VC coins, but they love Solana and Luna.
You know, I don't know. I think like if people are really like tuned in into this like sell in May thing, you know, that's been going around. We talked about this a little bit. Like from my experience, I wouldn't really say that liquidity in May and you know in summer months is all that bad. If you're gonna take a look at altcoin charts and even BTC chart from last summer, we had decent rally actually during the summer of last year. Some of you might even remember that. So I'm not too crazy about it. You know, I just feel like this market needs a little bit of a resolution before any kind of next move. But it's been trading pretty shitty. You know, like just a lot of sideways and then just quick moves upside and downsides.
And comparably, apologies that it's mostly about Bitcoin, even though it's the only thing to really cover this. To talk about, but like there's a lot of leverage in Bitcoin. You know, like a lot of open interest swings, like 5 to 10% intraday moves on open interest, which is just bizarre in my opinion. Like people leveraging, and I think, you know, like one side really needs to get humbled soon, probably. Like we're gonna chop, you know, let the over leveraged apes flush out maybe. You know,
yeah, I was really thinking like looking at this. I know I showed this on TradingView. You can see, you know, like when we basically had this flush here, you know, 15%, and this showed signs of strength. You know, I was really thinking at last week basically like this is very nice kind of opportunity for this to bottom out, because we didn't have such a big flush in BTC for quite a bit. I was kind of looking at it. I couldn't really remember all that much. When was the last time when we just flushed so much to the downside? I think the last time, you know, where we were really flushing was, you know, this move at the March bottom. You can see this is that flush in the OI, and you can still compare it with this flush right here, which is like still much bigger. But yeah, this is just like completely died down. It seems it's like there was not really that kind of a buying interest after we just moved to the highs basically. So yeah, it's a really tricky spot to now say like where this is going basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the wick, the 50k wick on Bitfinex. I noticed that today. Pretty funny. Wonder if someone would actually get filled there, but usually it's not really the case.
Chili's, they have something coming up in like 8 days. But maybe before Adam is loading the chart, like I can just comment like Chili's and Dreyfus are. Like, if you really keep track of everything happening with Chili's, it's just constant announcements on announcements on announcements. So it's really, you know, the chart looks exactly that. Like, these wicks are mostly their tweets, you know, hyping up shit that they never delivers. The biggest Chili's pump we had was the World Cup. That was like probably one of the last. Yeah, it was one of my first trades after FTX. So that's like December or late November, if you wanna zoom out a little bit.
Yeah, I remember that was no, it's here, somewhere here. Yeah, here, this move into the World Cup basically. Yeah, the chart at the moment doesn't really tell much. To be fair, you know, we are in the middle of consolidation. The open interest is not showing some crazy buying. You know, we had this. Yeah, it's not nothing notable, to be fair here to kind of really take it from there. So I don't really see all that much basically.
But yeah, it's not a bad coin. Like for the guy asking, like yes, they have something going up, but not showing anything strong whatsoever as of right now. Like, I find Litecoin stronger than this, and Litecoin has a halving in like 4 months.
You know, like even for me, first of all, I have no idea what this coin does, as like 99% of coins. But when I trade things, I like them to look like this. You know, you can see from price action, you have these kind of big swings. You know, they create the space. You know, you really have like areas that show you the clean like support, and you know, then you're gonna bounce from them and make a new highs and all that. If I'm going to take a look at this, you know, this seems like so dead to me.
Yeah.
Like very low volatility, nothing going on basically. So if I would be buying this, I would love to see a huge break above this area here, then go for a retest and take it from there. But you know, buying this seemed like very much can go both ways basically.
Yeah, even lower time frames look shit. I just checked 15-minute chart on my other computer and nothing. Like nothing.
Yeah, seems like someone bought a lot yesterday, and then they puked it here. So
now they're community member.
Yeah, not the smartest decisions in this 24-hour window, basically.
I'm pretty sure if you're like really bored, if you go on Twitter and you go for Dreyfus, which is the Alex Dreyfus, you don't do it. But like, I'm pretty sure just somebody thought that Chili's is now gonna cure cancer, and you know they just lost a bunch of money. But that's news trading too. If you like, you really need to understand context. You cannot just ape any. You know, you cannot have ape Dreyfus, or you need to understand the history of these announcements, because Chili's is like,
yeah. Someone asking about the Launchpad tokens. I never did that, to be fair. Nothing I tried ever. So I can't really comment on how I would participate in that. The ID was nice one. I think ID had a decent amount of rally after it got launched. We obviously had this sideways and huge push up in ID. We talked about this. We shared the chart in the last stream. I'm not going to scroll through Twitter, but someone basically did a analysis of newly listed coins on Binance. Yeah, BitHedge did that. Great guy. Make sure to give him a follow. He did the analysis of the new freshly listed coins on Binance. Basically, came up with the conclusion that these coins usually go sideways 1 week after listing, and they pump after that. So I think that's a little smarter approach than just aping into Launchpad and hoping for the best. But I don't know, like this Edu is the one that got launched. I know it sold off quite a bit, but still, after it got launched, it still went.
Wow.
35%.
35% in these market conditions, not bad.
Yeah, not bad. But once again, I feel like like aping into it the second it launches, and it's makes sense. I think it's not a bad idea, but my issue then comes back into the fact that we have a third launchpad in a week or so. The ID was nice. The Edu was also kind of nice because it was at least a month break from that. Now you have the Sui one like 5 days after the last one. So as this kind of window shortens, the excitement from these things also kind of shortens. I would maybe say that the Sui the runner said it's layer 1 token. I once again like zero idea what ID or Edu is.
I can add if you want, because I think I think it's actually relevant. It's not like me being actually the meme, like Space ID was like ENS but on Arbitrum. Do you know ENS? Yeah, so you can buy Adam's uncle dot
yeah, there's like a domain thing.
Yeah. So Space ID was on like all other chains, especially Arbitrum. And for context, that's when Arbitrum was the main shit at the week.
Yeah.
Maybe it was like relative strength and it had like something cool about it. Edu is like educational coin. Like you cannot package it to be sexy. You just cannot, no matter what you do. I'm sorry. And obviously Sui, a lot of people will trade it like Aptos. So I think Sui will be better than Edu, but at the same time.
Also, ID pumped the same time as Arbitrum because they are the same. Okay, yeah. So
it's not all noise. It's like I guess relationship or like baskets of families, whatever.
From what I kind of noticed over the time is that the new layer coins are always the most popular ones. It seems like, at least.
Yeah.
Not that I have any kind of
You know
strong
why?
data on
But
that.
you know why? It's pretty easy because in most of these layer ones, it's very VC heavy, right? So FDV of Sui will be retarded. So
Yeah,
what that means,
yeah.
there's a lot of incentive to pump the token so they can hedge, and then these hedgers can be blown the fuck out. That's what happened with Aptos. So like, you know, the vesting schedule unlocks all the stuff. So these people, like, they have good market makers as well, right? So like Edu probably has no market maker, but I guarantee you that Sui has all of them. Wintermute, Jumps, you know, Cumberland or whatever the name is. So, you know, so there's
Yeah.
these coins trade different.
Definitely, these get a lot of hype. So the Sui could be kind of cool. I don't know how people will trade IDEX. To be fair, as much as I think the project is cool, you know, it's the platform itself is not doing any crazy volumes. You know, it's going to be this kind of a DIDEX GMX basket with the decentralized exchanges. You know, it's kind of a
Yeah, they're doing rebrand and before launch, so it still should be the old version. But yeah, we'll see. Obviously these are, you know, headlines versus the actual usage, but that's, you know, then we are discussing fundamentals of crypto. I think the asset class is completely useless to begin with.
I think but like for like the Sui, like I know that a lot of people when Arbitrum had this huge rally, like a lot of people got fucked on a fact that they were just buying the tokens on Arbitrum, you know, like trading on the Arbitrum basically itself, and it kind of like heavily underperformed compared to the Arbitrum token. So maybe with the Sui, you know, like new layer one, like people will be more kind of into trading the token itself. I saw Sakat, you know, already tweeting about it, so there might be some volume coming from that as well.
You know, it's just for some reason people still like to short these things, just like Injective or ID or SXP. Everything that goes up, monkey brain activation, neuron transmitter says short, leveraged, and you know, then you just have these moves. But yeah, that was the ARB top.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like obviously, it's very hard to pick a top here. You know. It's I always feel like with this, and you know, it's like a less sexy way of trading, because I know that, you know, like the new tokens always get the biggest engagement and everything, but like, why would I short something that is like hot right now, and you know, most people talk about it, when I can short basically anything else? Like I can pick up completely dead kind of coin with similar volume or maybe a little less volume and just short that, and you know, just be happy about that basically. So
you can look at Chainlink if you want to trigger some link marines.
Yeah, just post the Chainlink short and you'll have twice as engagement, and you know, you might actually end up making some money as well. If chances for Arbitrum in the next bull cycle, yeah, I think it is, like, you know, layer 2 still I feel like would be kind of strong thing. Optimism is actually doing still pretty well. I mean, it's trading at $2. You know, Optimism haven't had this kind of a bear market, you know, time basically since it got launched basically a year ago. So yeah, I think, you know, layer 2 might have a time to shine in the next cycle, whenever that will be, you know.
I can add to Arbitrum. Fundamentally, it's a very good chain, cheapest transactions, much less rugs, and much cheaper than ZK Sync stuff. But it has pretty shitty tokenomics. But all the unlocks, all the vesting is there's nothing happening for next 325 days in terms of unlocks, in terms of cliffs. So for the next 300 days, it can do really well. Then I would be kind of scared. So that's like more that if you wanna, I can show one more website actually, so I can actually be valuable.
Is Arbitrum doing like more volume than Optimism? Like it's the biggest layer 2 at the moment.
Yeah, like TVL, and people actually using the chain by a lot. Let me actually show you the great website. It's for free, token unlocks. This is really good. Don't marry this because people shorting unlocks, etc. It's a bit of meme, but you can see, Arbitrum does not have cliffs, whatever, for like almost a year. So people saying, oh, if you look at Arbitrum FDV, like don't be, insert your favorite curse word. Like, yes, it's 1 to 10 market cap FDV, but it's not unlocking for another year. And if you want to look at usage of the chains, there should be, I don't know. Yeah, let's look at layer 2s. What the fuck am I doing? I'm doing something wrong here. I cannot. 1 second.
The bottom line is people use it.
Yes, good chain.
We don't know how many, but some people use it. It's not that bad.
Yeah, look. Actually, this chart is pretty interesting, right? So this is TVL. Obviously, I know a lot of people in the comments might say TVL is not important. It's about volumes and revenue. But if you look at this chart, the airdrop was like here, or whatever, by my mouse, and it's still like sustaining, which is impressive. So yeah, people still use it. Andrew Kang is using all the liquidity of GMX, but
Yeah.
But yeah, good chain.
Cool. So I think we can maybe cover some questions if someone has some requests, some question about anything. We've been live over an hour, so we are slowly coming to an end. No one really asking anything.
Yeah, everybody fell asleep listening to us.
Okay, so I feel like if we do not have any questions, thanks everyone for tuning in. And yeah, like I mentioned at the beginning, the last few weeks we were extremely inconsistent with the days of the streaming. It's going to be only worse from here. Very likely it's going to be a bigger pause due to my personal stuff and me trying to move everything and all that boring things. So yeah, but we definitely plan to be back in the summer once I settle back in. Jesus, I just figured to look at this. I'm surprised no one asked about this thing right here.
Jesus fucking Christ, it's gonna go higher, isn't it?
Yeah, the funding here is pretty insane.
Like you could get 3% a day just being long.
Yeah. Over 3%, like almost 5% a day, holding a long. It's trading on a pretty shitty exchanges, I think. Not so much, but this is insane. This is really crazy. Anyway, I don't know where you can short Pepe. I think it's on MaxC.
Don't short Pepe. No, Adam, stop.
Favorite exchange. Look at this though. Like open interest is going up. I don't know what. This is only from Hobby, which should be Hobby is actually pretty decent, like volume-wise exchange. Open interest is going up. CVD is going down. Like I'm pretty sure most of these people are just shorting this at the market. It's like this thing, and I am 100% sure that this will end up going to zero at some point. But I would never short this, and even if this is at the top, I would never short this thing because paying 5% a day to be short. This chart is just asking you to get blown over basically. So yeah, definitely. I'm not really into longing this because just me personally, I don't really trade meme coins, and I really try to be a little sophisticated and don't trade these things on these exchanges. But yeah, definitely if you think about shorting this, once again, go find something that makes much more sense than trying to short this.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, guys, thanks for tuning in, and yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna end it. Ciao.